My cousin demanded that I cater her entire wedding for free, saying it would be great exposure for my business. When I said no, she rolled her eyes and said, "Fine, I'll find someone better." So I didn't go to the wedding at all. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls. There's a special kind of betrayal when your own family tries to destroy your life's work. My cousin Megan, well, she decided to wage war on my business, all because I wouldn't cater her extravagant wedding for free. See, my name is Lisa, and I run a small catering business. It's not some huge corporation, just a local operation, but I poured 8 years of my life into it. This isn't just a job to me, it's my passion, my art, my way of bringing people together. I graduated from culinary school dreaming of my own restaurant, but this business grew organically, through word of mouth. Friends asked me to cook for their parties, then their friends. Soon, I had a steady stream of clients who trusted me with their most important celebrations. My kitchen, a modest setup in a rented commercial space, is my sanctuary. The walls are covered in photos from hundreds of events, birthdays, corporate lunches, anniversaries, weddings. Each one a memory, a testament to how my food helped make someone's day special. I keep a little notebook filled with comments from happy clients. "Your salmon was perfection, the cake brought tears to my eyes, you saved our event." Those words mean everything to me. This business has its challenges, of course. Tight margins, ridiculously long hours, and the constant stress of making sure everything goes perfectly. I've had my share of disasters, ovens dying mid-event, suppliers sending wrong ingredients, staff calling in sick. But I've learned to adapt, to have backup plans, to stay calm under pressure. That's what separates the pros from the amateurs. I remember one wedding where the bride changed her menu 3 times the week before. My staff thought I was crazy for accommodating her, but I knew how important that day was. It went off without a hitch, and her handwritten thank you note is still in my recipe folder. Building trust is everything. Clients aren't just buying food, they're buying peace of mind. And I protect that reputation fiercely. So, when my cousin Megan called me, gushing about her upcoming wedding, I was genuinely happy for her. Megan and I always had a complicated relationship. She was the kind of person who craved attention, who needed to be the center of every story. Growing up, family gatherings revolved around her latest drama. She was the golden child, beautiful, charming, always destined for something great, even if she bounced between modeling, real estate, and marketing without ever finding her niche. She talked big, but follow-through wasn't her strong suit. Still, she's family. Her fiancé, Marcus, seemed like a solid, quiet guy who grounded her. They'd been together for 3 years, so I was thrilled she'd found someone. We chatted about plans, and then she dropped the bombshell. "I want you to cater the whole thing," she said excitedly. I smiled. "That's fantastic, Megan. What's your budget?" "I can definitely work with you." I was already mentally running through options. Wedding catering is my specialty, and I'd work with family on the margins. I could offer her several packages, from simple appetizers to a full multi-course dinner. "Oh," she interrupted, "I was hoping you'd do it for free. You know, as a wedding gift." I nearly choked. The sheer casualness of it, like asking me to bring a bottle of wine, completely floored me. She wanted me to cater a wedding for 150+ guests, for free. The audacity took my breath away. Now, I love my family, but this was a massive ask. A full-service wedding for that many people would easily run into the thousands. My mind raced. $8,000 in food costs alone, not counting labor, equipment, rentals, staff, or my own time. Appetizers, a multi-course dinner, a late-night snack, 3 days of prep for my entire team. I tried to be polite. "Megan, I'd love to help, but that's a lot of work. The ingredients alone would cost me a fortune, let alone everything else. I just can't do that for free." I heard the disappointment in her voice, but underneath it, something else, entitlement. The same entitlement I remembered from childhood, when she'd pout and manipulate until she got her way. "But your family," she whined. And this is my business, I said firmly. Over the years, I'd learned the hard way about setting boundaries with family. Early in my career, free work for relatives led not to referrals, but to more requests for free work, devaluing my services. The conversation got tense. Megan tried every angle: family loyalty, the exposure it would bring my business, even hinting that other family members would be disappointed. I stood my ground. I offered a family discount, offered to work within her budget, but free was off the table. She sighed dramatically. Fine. I'll find someone better. That stung. Someone better. As if 8 years of experience, culinary training, and a track record of successful events meant nothing. As if I was some amateur who should be grateful for the opportunity. But I shrugged it off. If she wanted to burn a bridge over free food, that was on her. I had plenty of paying clients. I didn't hear much about the wedding after that. The family grapevine was unusually quiet, which was odd for Megan. My mom briefly mentioned Megan had found another caterer who was just as good, and I didn't give it a second thought. I was swamped with 2 other weddings, a corporate event, and multiple birthday parties. It was peak summer season, and my team and I were working 12-hour days. Fast forward to the wedding day itself. I wasn't invited, probably because of the whole catering issue, but honestly, I didn't care. I spent a rare Saturday evening relaxing at home, ordering takeout, and watching a movie. It was glorious. Then, at 7 a.m. the next morning, my phone began to buzz incessantly. Dozens of missed calls. Megan, her mom, my mom. Something was very, very wrong. My first thought was an accident. I finally picked up my mom's call, groggy and annoyed. Oh my God, it was a disaster, Mom whispered, her voice laced with shock. What? I asked, rubbing my eyes. The food. It was horrible. Megan is freaking out. As Mom filled me in, I felt a strange mix of vindication and genuine sympathy. The caterers she hired were awful, Mom continued. The chicken was undercooked, pink in the middle. Several guests got sick. The pasta was stone cold, like it had been sitting out for hours, and the seafood platter? Oh my God, it was clearly canned tuna just dumped on a plate with some crackers. I could picture it, a wedding reception where the food was so bad it overshadowed everything. Guests whispering, some refusing to eat. Mom said, people left early. By 9 p.m., half the guests were gone. The ones who stayed were just drinking and avoiding the food. Megan was in the bathroom crying, and Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear. I bit my lip to keep from laughing. It wasn't funny, not exactly, but there was a certain poetic justice. She's begging you to come fix it, Mom said. They need real food for the brunch reception today. Apparently, Megan had planned a day after brunch for out-of-town guests. I blinked. So, let me get this straight. She refused to pay me, found someone better, and now she wants me to drop everything and save the day? The audacity was breathtaking. She'd dismissed my services, insulted my abilities, and now expected me to rescue her wedding weekend. Mom sighed. Yes. I let out a slow, satisfied exhale. Tell her I'm unavailable. The decision came easily. I wasn't being vindictive. I genuinely was unavailable. Sunday brunch service for that many people required extensive prep work that should have started days ago. Even if I'd wanted to help, there was no way to pull together a quality meal with a few hours' notice. But more than that, I wasn't going to reward her behavior. She'd made her choice, and now she had to live with the consequences. Mom gasped. What? I have plans, I said. Besides, I wouldn't want to take business away from the caterer she hired. The sarcasm in that last line was intentional. If this other caterer was just as good, surely they could handle brunch. Mom knew better than to argue. She understood my business better than most family members, and she'd seen how hard I worked. She relayed the message, and within an hour, Megan lost her mind. I received a long, furious text calling me selfish and petty, claiming I was ruining her wedding by refusing to help when it really mattered. It was full of accusations and guilt trips, but it only confirmed I'd made the right decision. If this was how she reacted to a simple no, imagine how she would have behaved if I'd worked for free and something had gone wrong. I didn't even bother responding. Later, I found out the brunch ended up being grocery store deli trays that Megan's mom panic bought. Wilted sandwiches, store-bought cookies, fruit salad from plastic containers. People were not impressed. Megan is still salty about it to this day. And guess what? She never found someone better. The caterer she'd hired was a friend of a friend doing a side hustle, no professional experience, no proper equipment, no understanding of food safety. She chose price over quality and got exactly what she paid for. After I refused to swoop in and save her wedding brunch, I thought that was the end of it. I figured she'd cool off, we'd have an awkward conversation at the next family gathering, and life would move on. I was wrong. A few days later, I started noticing something strange. Bad reviews began popping up on my business page. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Every business gets a bad review now and then. But these were different. Terrible service, one read. Food was bland and arrived cold. Unprofessional. It was short, vague, no specifics. Another said, canceled last minute and ruined my event. The chicken made everyone sick. Avoid at all costs. My stomach tightened as I read each one. These were fake, and not even well crafted. Too generic, too similar in tone. And it wasn't one or two, there were dozens, all posted within hours. My overall rating, which had taken years to build to 4.8 stars, was plummeting. I checked the reviewer profiles. Most were brand new accounts with no history, no profile pictures. But a few had familiar names, Megan's friends from high school and college. My jaw clenched. She was trying to ruin my business. This wasn't just about the wedding anymore. This was a deliberate attempt to destroy my livelihood because I'd refused to work for free. I called her immediately. She didn't pick up. No surprise. I texted her, keeping my tone as calm and professional as possible. Hey, Megan, just saw a bunch of fake reviews on my business page. I know you're upset, but this isn't the way to handle it. Please have them taken down. She read the message instantly. I saw the read receipt, but no reply came. Then, minutes later, I got a notification, she'd blocked me. That's when I knew this wasn't just petty drama. This was war. The betrayal hit me harder than I expected. I knew Megan was dramatic, but I never imagined she'd be capable of something so calculated and cruel. She wasn't just venting, she was actively trying to destroy something I'd spent years building. I spent days reporting every fake review to Google My Business and Yelp. But the damage was done. The platform's review systems are designed to prevent manipulation, but they're not perfect. It takes time for fake reviews to be investigated and removed. In the meantime, potential clients were seeing my tanked rating and going elsewhere. Some regular clients reached out, concerned. I had to explain the humiliating situation. A few even canceled upcoming bookings, worried about my service quality. I was furious, but I didn't have concrete proof that Megan was behind it. Not yet. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from another caterer in town, Dave. We weren't friends, but we had a professional respect. We'd even collaborated on large events. The catering community here is small, we all know each other. He sounded uncomfortable. Hey, he said, I need to tell you something. I just got a call from a bride named Megan. She wanted me to write a bad review about you. Said you ruined her wedding and needed to be taught a lesson. I gripped the phone tighter. She asked you to leave a fake review? The audacity was stunning, but it also gave me exactly what I needed, proof of her campaign against me. Yep, Dave sighed. She offered to pay me $50 to write something nasty about your food and service. Told her I don't play that game, but figured you should know. She's calling other caterers, too, trying to get them to join in. I was seeing red. She wasn't just venting her anger, she was actively recruiting others to destroy my reputation. This was organized, deliberate, and completely unhinged. I needed more evidence. I had an idea, but I needed help. My friend Sophie, a graphic designer who understood social media, had helped me with my business's online presence before. Our plan was simple. Sophie would create a fake social media profile and approach Megan as a potential bride looking for catering recommendations. If Megan was truly running a campaign against me, she'd take the bait and try to turn this bride against my business. Sophie messaged Megan from the fake account, pretending to be newly engaged and asking for caterer warnings. Megan took the bait immediately. "Oh my God, yes," Megan wrote back within minutes. "Just avoid Lisa's business at all costs." Total disaster. They ruined my wedding. Showed up late. Food was terrible. Completely unprofessional. My chest tightened as Sophie screenshotted the messages and sent them to me. But Megan didn't stop there. Actually, she continued, "I'm putting together a group to leave bad reviews and warn people about them. Want to join?" She sent Sophie a group chat invite. We hit the jackpot. Inside the chat were Megan and at least 15 of her friends, all actively planning to flood my business page with fake reviews. They had scripts prepared, fake stories about terrible experiences, and even photos of disgusting food they'd pulled from Google to use as evidence of my poor service. The chat history was damning. Megan had been coordinating this campaign for days, assigning different friends to target different review platforms. She'd created an entire narrative about how I'd ruined her wedding, complete with fabricated details about late arrivals, cold food, and rude service. None of it was true, but it was detailed enough to sound convincing. Sophie screenshotted everything. Now I had undeniable proof of exactly what Megan was doing, and I wasn't just going to sit back and take it. It was time to fight back. The counterattack started the next morning. I called Megan's dad, Uncle Dan. Now, Uncle Dan is an old-school, no-nonsense kind of guy who built a successful construction company from nothing. He'd always been supportive of my business, even recommending me to his associates. More importantly, I knew he had no idea what his daughter was up to. Dan valued honesty and hard work. When I told him about the fake review campaign, he was silent for a long time. I could hear him breathing heavily. Then he sighed. "I'll handle it," he said in a tone that suggested Megan was about to have a very unpleasant conversation with her father. Within an hour, Megan unblocked me and sent a frantic text. "Why would you tell my dad?" she wrote. There was panic in her message, the kind of fear that comes from knowing you're about to face serious consequences. "Why would you try to destroy my business?" I replied. She sent a string of excuses that only made her look worse. "I was just mad. I didn't think it was a big deal. You didn't even help me when I needed you. It's not like you lost money over it." That last line was infuriating. Of course, I'd lost money, cancelled bookings, a damaged reputation, precious time spent dealing with fake reviews instead of focusing on my actual work. But even if I hadn't, her logic was insane, trying to ruin someone's livelihood because they wouldn't work for free. I didn't reply to her excuses. Instead, I forwarded all the screenshots to Google My Business and Yelp's review departments. Over the next few weeks, her entire group got banned from leaving reviews, and all the fake reviews were systematically removed. My page was restored to its original rating, but the damage to my peace of mind wasn't so easily repaired. The ultimate twist came a week later when I got one more call that changed everything. It was from Rick, the caterer Megan had originally hired, the one who'd ruined her wedding dinner. He sounded absolutely pissed. "She just tried to file a chargeback on my payment," he said. "Claimed I scammed her and that the food was inedible. She ate half the food at the wedding, complained about the rest, and now she wants her money back." "Are you serious?" I asked, though I wasn't really surprised. "Oh, yeah," he said. "She paid me half up front, then tried to get the bank to refund it after the wedding. Guess she thought she could get a free wedding meal." I whistled. She really didn't know when to quit. The pattern was becoming clear. Megan had a history of trying to get services for free, whether through manipulation, fake reviews, or outright fraud. "Oh, I'm not letting it slide," Rick said. "I'm taking her to small claims court." Good for him, I thought. Someone needed to hold her accountable. And that's when it hit me. Megan wasn't just entitled, she was a scammer. And karma was just getting started. A few weeks passed, and business slowly returned to normal. The fake reviews were gone, my regular clients were reassured, and new bookings were coming in. I thought the worst was behind me. But then I got a weird call from another wedding client. "Hey," she said, "just wanted to check. Are you still catering my wedding?" "Of course," I replied. "Why would you think otherwise?" "Well, someone told me you went out of business," she said. My stomach dropped. "Who told you that?" I spent the next hour calling all my upcoming clients. Sure enough, several had received similar messages. Someone was personally contacting my clients, telling them I'd shut down. It didn't take long to figure out who. Megan had been systematically contacting my clients, using information from my social media pages and business website. She'd even gone so far as to create a fake email account under my business name and send out cancellation notices to some of my biggest events. The fake emails were crude but effective. They claimed that due to personal circumstances and health issues, I was shutting down my catering business immediately and canceling all upcoming events. Some clients had already started looking for replacement caterers. I wanted to scream. This wasn't just petty revenge anymore. This was sabotage on a professional level. She was actively trying to destroy my business relationships and reputation. I called Uncle Dan again, but this time he didn't pick up. I had a bad feeling about why. The family secret came out later that night when my mom called me. "Listen," she said carefully. "I know you're mad at Megan, but maybe it's time to just let this go." The tone in her voice suggested she knew something I didn't. Let it go? I almost laughed. "She's still trying to ruin me, Mom. She's contacting my clients, sending fake emails. How can I just let that go?" Mom sighed. "Her parents are dealing with a lot right now." "What do you mean?" I pressed. Then she told me something I never saw coming. Uncle Dan had just found out that Megan had racked up over $30,000 in credit card debt. But that wasn't the worst part. She'd used his credit to do it, taking out loans and opening credit cards in his name to pay for her extravagant wedding. She'd forged his signature on loan applications, used his social security number to open accounts, and maxed out every line of credit she could get. The wedding had cost nearly $60,000, and she'd financed almost all of it through fraud. I sat there, stunned. She committed identity theft against her own father? Mom lowered her voice. Dan is trying to keep it quiet, but yes. The bank discovered the fraud during a routine credit check. Now they're demanding immediate payment, and Dan's credit is ruined. This wasn't just about me anymore. Megan wasn't just an entitled brat who threw tantrums when she didn't get her way. She was a criminal willing to steal from her own family to maintain her fantasy lifestyle. Suddenly, her desperate attempts to destroy my business made perfect sense. She was drowning in debt and legal troubles, and she needed someone to blame. I realized she'd probably never planned to pay for wedding catering in the first place. Whether she'd hired me or someone else, she would have found a way to avoid paying. If I'd done the job for free, she would have just moved on to the next vendor. If I charged her, she probably would have tried the same chargeback scheme she'd used on the other caterer. And now that her whole life was crashing down, she was desperate to blame someone else for her problems. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to sit back and let her destroy me while she destroyed herself. Megan had made it her mission to ruin me. I was about to return the favor, but I was going to do it the right way, with truth, evidence, and the support of everyone she'd wronged. The setup required careful planning. First, I had to confirm my suspicions about the other vendors from her wedding. I reached out to Rick, the original caterer. Did she ever pay you? I asked. Nope, Rick replied. She never showed up to court when I sued her. I won by default, and now I'm filing for wage garnishment. If she has any legitimate income, I'll get my money eventually. That gave me an idea. I started looking into the other vendors, the florist, the DJ, the venue, the photographer. One by one, I reached out to them. The pattern became horrifyingly clear. She hadn't paid any of them. The DJ was still waiting for his $1,500. The florist had been ghosted after delivering thousands of dollars worth of arrangements. The cake decorator had spent 2 days creating a custom wedding cake and never received payment. The venue was threatening to send her account to collections. This wasn't just poor planning, Megan had systematically booked vendors with no intention of paying. She'd created her dream wedding on borrowed money and other people's services, then tried to disappear when the bills came due. But she'd made one crucial mistake: she'd left a trail of evidence and a lot of angry people who were ready to take action. The showdown required one more phone call. This time, directly to Uncle Dan. When I told him everything I'd discovered, the unpaid vendors, the systematic fraud, the coordinated attack on my business, he was quiet for a long time. Then he exploded. I'll spare you the details of that conversation, but by the end of it, Megan's support system was officially gone. I'm cutting her off, Dan said. No more help, no more bailouts. She made this mess, and she can clean it up herself. You're really going to let her sink? I asked, though I already knew the answer. She tried to destroy your business, he replied. She stole from me, lied to me, and scammed half the town. She's made her choice, and now she has to live with the consequences. With that, the final piece was in place. I didn't know exactly how it would all play out, but Megan's house of cards was about to collapse, and I was going to have a front row seat. The explosion came at a family gathering, a birthday party for my aunt that had been planned for months. The venue was packed with dozens of relatives, all making small talk, pretending there wasn't a storm brewing beneath the surface. Megan walked in like nothing was wrong. Hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, a fake smile plastered on her face. She was good at that, pretending everything was fine, even when her world was falling apart. She made the rounds, hugging relatives and accepting congratulations on her recent marriage, playing the part of the perfect new bride. I watched her from across the room, marveling at her performance. She chatted with cousins, laughed at jokes, but I could see the tension in her shoulders, the way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Then Uncle Dan stood up. I need to say something, he announced, his voice cutting through the party chatter. The room fell silent, everyone turning to look at him. I felt a chill run through the room as people sensed that something serious was about to happen. Megan froze, her champagne glass halfway to her lips. Her face went pale as she realized what was coming. Dan's voice was eerily calm. My daughter, he said, looking directly at Megan, is a liar and a thief. The words hit the room like a physical blow. Someone gasped. A chair creaked, and I heard someone whisper, "Oh my God. Dad, what are you doing?" Megan laughed nervously, but the sound was hollow and desperate. Dan didn't blink. You stole from me, he continued. You stole from your wedding vendors. You tried to ruin your cousin's business, and now you're out of chances. The room erupted in whispers and murmurs. All eyes were on Megan, who looked like she wanted to disappear. But the confrontation was just beginning. One by one, the vendors she'd stiffed began to speak up. The DJ, who'd been invited to the party as a family friend who'd done the wedding as a favor, stood up. You still owe me $1,500, he said quietly. The florist, my aunt's neighbor, rose next. You ignored my calls after the wedding. I had to eat the cost of all those arrangements. Even the cake decorator, invited because she was dating one of our cousins, joined in. I custom-made that cake, Megan. I spent 2 days on it, and you never paid me. The confrontation was devastating to watch. Megan's breathing became shallow, her face flushed red, and she looked around desperately for support that wasn't coming. Her own father had orchestrated this moment, and no one was going to save her. Then came the final blow. Rick, the original caterer, stepped forward and dropped a legal envelope in front of her. "This is a garnishment notice," he said. "Your wages will be docked until I get every penny you owe me." Megan's composure finally cracked. "This isn't fair," she whispered, her voice breaking. "This is an attack. You're all ganging up on me." But Dan's voice was like steel. "No, Megan," he said. "This is justice. You made your choices, and now you face the consequences." She looked at me then, her eyes desperate and pleading. "You did this," she spat. "You ruined my life." I tilted my head calmly. "You did that all by yourself, Megan." That's when she completely lost it. She threw her champagne glass across the room, where it shattered against the wall. Then she turned on her father, her voice rising to a shriek. "Dad, you don't understand. I had no choice. I didn't have the money. You wouldn't help me pay for the wedding." Dan's face darkened. "I would have helped you if you'd asked honestly," he said. "Instead, you stole from me. You forged my signature and destroyed my credit." Megan was hyperventilating now, trapped with nowhere to run. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more people willing to enable her behavior. Then, without another word, she turned and ran out of the party. The door slammed behind her, and the room fell silent. No one moved. No one chased after her. We all knew this was the end of something. The end of Megan's ability to manipulate and deceive. The end of her family's willingness to cover for her mistakes.